You are listening to Keep Canada Weird, a weekly weird news roundup by the Nighttime Podcast.
Hello, listeners, and welcome to the weekly Keep Canada Weird discussion series. If you're new here, I'm Jordan, and in Keep Canada Weird, my pal Aaron Airport and I seek out and explore the offbeat Canadian news stories from the past week. In tonight's episode, which was recorded on the 30th of July 2024, Aaron and I investigate the armed robbery of a lemonade stand in Saskatoon. We take a stroll down the newly renamed Taylor Swift Street in Toronto. We dig for buried feces in the sands of Wasaga Beach. And we solve an enduring Keep Canada Weird mystery. So let's get into this. Handsome Aaron Airport. We have another episode in front of us, but before we start chipping away at that weird stone, let's talk about the week behind us. How have you been?
Oh, I've been very good. Just plugging away at life here. Are you going to ask me what I'm drinking or?
Yeah, let's move on to drinking. I'll tell you, I am drinking a nice cup of orange pico tea.
Mm-hmm.
Got a little milk in there and a bit of artificial sweetener. I'm ready to rock. What do you got?
Ah, nice. I've got a No Boats on Sunday peach cider.
And No Boats on Sunday, is that like an East Coast brand?
It's a Nova Scotia brand. Yeah.
Okay. Because we actually, when my kids were very little, we play a game called No Boats on Sunday. And that's when my kids would lay on the bed and I would stand on the bed and I would, they would pretend they were boats. And I would kind of like, not jump, but I'd just kind of rock up and down on the bed to make the bed shake. And I would say what day it was. I'd be like, it's Monday. And the harbor's kind of calm. And it's Tuesday, and it's a little rainy, but the harbor's calm. And then I would build up and shake harder and harder until I was like, it's Saturday, and all the boats have to leave. And then I would say, oh no, it's Sunday, and there's no boats on Sunday. And I would jump really hard up and down on the bed to try to knock them off. And that was a really fun game.
It sounds really fun. So did you make up this game? Or?
Yeah, I think, you know what? The game came to me almost in a vision. I was at the liquor store and I saw No Boats on Sunday. And then later that night, I was standing on the bed and the game just came to me.
In a vision, in a religious experience.
I saw my children just falling off the bed and me jumping wildly, and I went for it.
Yeah. Well, you're teaching a very dangerous lesson to your children that it's okay to jump on beds.
It can only end in trouble, right?
Yeah, your children are going to both be criminals that will spend their life in and out of prison.
Wow, that's you're calling forward to some interesting things that are going to happen in this episode. I got a lot of surprises for you tonight. Some good, some bad, some strange, all of them unexpected. But let's start with some listener voicemail, as we often do. I'm going to solve a mystery for you right here. Are you sitting down?
Yes.
Okay, good. You'll need to be. You remember how we ended the show last week? We had a strange anonymous voicemail that was, I don't know if they were on drugs or if they were taunting us with a song about Lincoln Logs.
Mm-hmm.
What do you remember about it?
I remember Lincoln Logs, Jordan, won't you play with me?
Mm-hmm.
Lincoln Logs. Aaron, you're so nice or sweet or
something like that.
Yeah,
There's been a lot of speculation and discussion in the Keep Canada Weird Facebook about what this meant, what it could mean. Was it a weird, threatening message from the glove guy who's been out to get me since I did episodes about him? There was no definitive explanation for what that meant and if it had any relevance to past episodes of our show. But I just got a voicemail that you have to listen to, and we need to start the show with this. Buckle your seatbelt.
Hey, Jordan. Hey, Aaron. It's Jeff here from the great state of Minnesota again. So I have a confession, and I don't know how to say it, so I guess I'll just sing it. Lincoln Logs, Jordan, will you play with me? You heard that right. I am the Lincoln Log guy. And the story behind it is I knew Aaron has been struggling so hard not to Google on air or, on the podcast. And I was like, if I come up with this outlandish song, I bet you anything I can get Aaron to Google. And I almost had him. It was so close. Maybe next time. Nah, I'm joking. So I called before, found you guys off of Morbid, and started listening to you, started binging old episodes, new episodes, all the episodes, and I got my business partner into it. And so last week I was doing something on the floor, and we're both painters, and my business partner looks over and goes, "What are you doing? Playing with Lincoln Logs?" And so I was already listening to you, had you in my earbuds, and I came up with this outlandish song. And I was like, I gotta send this. I was like, this is the wackiest song they probably have ever heard, or it could be a new hit. I don't know. And so we sent it over as like a goof, and I didn't honestly think you'd put it on the air, but that was pretty sweet. So maybe this is the start of my singing career. I don't know. But I will find something, and somehow, somewhere, I will get Aaron to Google. It's there. He is itching. He wants to scratch that itch. So close. I almost got you, Aaron. Bye.
Now that's a deep cut. That by that's
Yeah.
good. Yeah, that's from a voicemail and a number of months ago, I think.
Yeah, geez, Jeff is all over it.
Mhm.
I see you as having these like this angel and demon on your shoulder. You have Pat from Peterborough, like, don't do it. Don't reach for your keyboard. And you have Jeff like Lincoln Logs, just making up nonsense, baiting
Yeah.
you. And you almost did it. You reached for your
I know my
keyboard.
muscle memory was just like, oh, Google, and then I stopped myself just in time, Pat, and I didn't Google, and I feel great that I didn't. And I am nervous that there are now members of the Keep Canada Weird army that are trying to encourage me to do bad things.
They're called bad actors. That's kind of what you describe people like that as. Bad actors like Jeff who are just out to take you down. And then you got the good people like me and Pat, and you are a good person, trying to keep everyone safe and responsible here on the show. Jeff,
Yeah.
how dare you do that to Aaron and almost get him next time? He's going to do it, I'm sure. But that was awesome. I'm glad to have that mystery come full circle. I never thought it was something simple as somebody baiting you, which is an amazing outcome.
Yeah, that is not a theory I would ever come up with for the Lincoln Logs song.
No, you thought it was people playing with poop or something.
Well, because I've never played with Lincoln Logs, but I certainly have heard people refer to their poop as Lincoln Logs.
Okay.
Like, I got to go drop a Lincoln Log.
That's enough poop talk for now. We'll come
Oh,
back to
sorry.
that.
Yeah,
Let,
you will. Yeah.
let's move on to the stories. I'm so excited that I don't even want to tease them. Let's jump right into it. Let's start with, let's travel to the great city of Saskatoon and the great state of Saskatchewan. I said state on purpose, so don't email me. Don't at me, I think is what people say.
Don't email me.
Listen to this. A little girl named Maddie has become well known in her Saskatoon neighborhood for being a passionate entrepreneur. Maddie's roadside lemonade stand has become a passion project for her over the summer. But a run-in with a few bad actors this past week is likely souring her entire business. This is the story of a literal armed robbery of a roadside lemonade stand. Buckle up.
Tonight, we're hearing from a 7-year-old girl who had her lemonade stand robbed. Neighbors are stepping up to turn something sour sweet.
Lemonade, lemonade.
It was a sour situation for 7-year-old Maddie. Police say 2 teenage boys robbed her lemonade stand on Monday.
I thought that they weren't very good and I should just stay calm.
Maddie has been selling lemonade in the community for weeks and recently saved up enough money to buy her own lemonade stand.
She's always out here selling lemonade any chance I let her. She loves the people, she loves the interaction, she likes to make her own money.
Her mother, Jade Flota, says Maddie has a rare medical condition known as vascular association and has gone through many surgeries. The mother-daughter duo wrote a book to help other sick kids, which Maddie also sells at her stand. Flota says being a businesswoman is Maddie's passion, but she's not allowed to sell lemonade in her yard anymore because 2 boys put her safety at risk.
I think the part that kind of shocked me was that They didn't care that I was there and like shooing them away.
She says the boys stole lemonade, money, and candy.
I didn't know what they were going to do. And then later to find out that they were armed, like with a knife, I'm just sick to my stomach.
14 and 16-year-old boys were arrested shortly after fleeing the scene. The 14-year-old had a knife and was charged with carrying a concealed weapon and breaching a court order. The 16-year-old was arrested on outstanding warrants.
Hi, would you like some lemonade? Yes, please.
Maddie has garnered a lot of community support, with her GoFundMe page raising over $2,000.
I really wanted to show Maddie that there are still kind, generous people in this world.
Voda says she's thankful for local businesses offering Maddie a safe place to sell lemonade.
Thank you.
Because when life gives Maddie lemons, she makes lemonade.
I feel terrible for her. I wish I was closer to Saskatoon. I would go buy every cup of lemonade she has on that table.
I'd be concerned for your health after that, though.
That's true. That would be a lot of sugar. But I'd buy it, but I wouldn't drink it. I'd buy it and then maybe like offer it for anyone in the neighborhood other than the people associated with the people who robbed her with a knife. What the hell?
Well, I mean, we talk a lot about there's two major nationwide issues that we address on this show. And the one that tends to get the most attention is the animal uprising. However, we have also been shining a light on the national issue of teenagers.
Teenage misbehaving.
Yeah, that's right. Misbehaving and scaring people of all ages who are scared by teenagers. I'm scared by teenagers. You are scared by teenagers.
Terrified. And now Maddie is a sweet little 7-year-old girl doing nothing wrong, selling lemonade from a little yellow wooden stand on her front lawn. And she runs into a 14-year-old with a knife and a 16-year-old with outstanding warrants. How does that happen? Could the police, if you have a warrant for a 16-year-old, shouldn't they just be at home? Couldn't you just go get them? What the hell is going on in Saskatoon?
I think it's I don't know. I mean, it's not my wheelhouse to discuss how a police officer handles 16-year-olds with warrants. I don't know the details. I can't really speak to it. I'm not allowed to Google anything, obviously. So I think that I can't really talk about that side of it too much, but it's very upsetting, especially someone like Maddie who's selling lemonade, trying to make a buck in this world, and then you have the threat of teenagers looming over the entire situation, and then one's carrying a knife, and it's scary. And it's the reason that when I see teenagers walking down the street, I shuffle to the other side of the street.
Just exactly the same thing I do. And that news clip doesn't get too in depth with what actually happened, but the way it went down is Maddie was outside working at the stand. The mother was in the house and heard like a commotion, and the mom looked out the window and saw the two teenagers at Maddie's stand, and they were just like serving themselves, like just pouring the lemonade into cups and drinking it. The mom thought that was unusual because Maddie takes pride in actually serving her customers. But the mom watched them pour their own cups of lemonade, drink them, then they squished the cups and they were throwing them at the kid, like throwing them in her face. The mom realized something wasn't right, went outside, telling the kids to shoo off. They wouldn't do it. What they did instead was took the money and some of the candy that Maddie had on the table and just like slowly walked off. I'm glad she called the police and the police got these kids. And I just hope that, I don't know, a 14-year-old and a 16-year-old, it's not too late to turn your life around, kids. I hope they're given the opportunity to make better decisions throughout the rest of their life, because this one's an awful one, and I just feel bad for a 7-year-old kid who's so innocent of having this kind of experience.
Yeah, make Canada weird, not scared.
Absolutely.
That's what we say here on the show. Have you ever had a entrepreneurial ambition as a young child? Anything that you ever sold or did?
Are you kidding me? I often tell people I'm actually a hustler, Aaron. I don't know if you know this, and I have been my whole life. So yeah, I have.
It's what drew me to you initially.
How much of a hustler I was. You know, my big entrepreneurial thing when I was a kid, when I was Maddie's age, myself and two others in my neighborhood in at the Ashby area of Sydney, we would run and manage a neighborhood hockey pool, which was kind of like, you know, now you have fantasy hockey or whatever. But what we would do back then is we go door to door and sell entry into our hockey pool at like $2 or $3 like a player. All of the neighborhood adults would go in on it. And at the beginning of a hockey season, you would pick a couple players, and whoever at the end of the year had their players had the most points would win 70. I think we used to do 75-25. They'd win 75% of the pot. And so we would get a lot of money because the whole neighborhood got in on it. You know, it caught on. And this was when we were little kids. Of course, I did the shoveling driveways for money and mowing for money. But yeah, what was your entrepreneurial background?
I can't say that it was as productive or as efficient as your efforts were, but
Okay.
one thing I did do, and it came back to kind of haunt me later in life, but
Oh,
I set up a
a pyramid scheme?
yeah, multi-level marketing.
Okay. No, I'm excited because you very rarely kind of step back from a statement, and I just watched you like I set up a just
Yeah,
spill it.
I set up a stand. It didn't last very long, and I made no sales, but I was selling women's underwear. So
What?
what I would do is I would cut out all the women's underwear in the Sears catalog, and then I would place them little pictures of the underwear on the table with the little desk that I had, and I would sell them to people in the house. Or I tried to go out onto the street and do it, but I lived in a 4-lane highway, so it didn't last very long. I couldn't
Okay.
really.
So wait, were you selling the pictures of the underwear that you cut out
Just
of
the
floor?
pictures. Yeah, no, I didn't have actual underwear.
It's just, how old are you?
I don't know, probably 6, maybe.
Wow, that's like, I'll be honest, that's a bit disturbing.
You don't care for that idea?
It's an interesting idea. I wish you were joking, but you're not, right?
No, I'm not. Yeah, it was a couple of days I tried this, but it didn't work out. There was a
Wow.
lot of logistics that I didn't have figured out in this business, and I had to close my doors, unfortunately.
But you did, like, it did open opportunities later in life because you famously worked at La Senza.
That's right. Yeah, I was the stock guy at La Senza for a period of time in the early 2000s. Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
So,
We're really getting to know a lot about you.
mhm.
Let's move on to something
Less disturbing,
less
or
uncomfortable.
okay.
Let's
I find it cute and innocent, but if you want to look at it in the lens of a pervert, then go right ahead.
Okay. Let's move on to a story about one of our favorite topics, and this, I guess, we're kind of catching up on a old topic. Taylor Swift, Swifties. As we discussed in the past, Taylor Swift is bringing her Eras Tour to Toronto for 6 sold-out shows this coming November. Now, the public is learning that not only the ticket holders are hoping to make the night special for Taylor, but a city council member proposed renaming a street, Toronto Street, in Taylor's honor, and the motion was approved by a 21-1 vote. Here comes the story of Taylor Swift Way.
Well, City Council has approved temporarily renaming a downtown route for Taylor Swift when she brings her Eras Tour to town later this year. Councillor Jennifer McKelvey put forward the motion, which calls for parts of John Street and Queen Street West to be renamed Taylor Swift Way during the month of November. The route will link Rogers Centre with Nathan Phillips Square, where the Toronto sign will be lit red for Taylor Swift. McKelvey says it's the city's way to show its appreciation to the international superstar.
We know that Taylor Swift will make a significant cultural and economic impact in every city that she tours, so it's important that we give her a warm welcome. And the motion also asks the general manager to report back on the Swiftonomics of the event, including the tax revenues that are generated to the municipal, provincial, and federal governments. And I think that's something we've all been involved in, is trying to get a fair deal for Toronto in importing the inequities that we have in our tax system.
Swift will perform the first of 6 shows at Rogers Centre on November 14th. Councillor Josh Matlow was the only one to vote against the motion.
Does it strike you as a little like desperate to be like, Taylor Swift's coming, let's name a street in her honor?
Yeah, if I were her, I would kind of roll my eyes at it.
Yeah, it's like, come on,
like
you
really,
clowns.
really.
Here in Halifax, years ago, I think it was like the Queen or the Princess kind of came through Halifax, and the city figured out like the route that she was taking, and they wanted to like really like soup up that route. And she went by a large park, and I guess like her motorcade or whatever passed by this park, but I guess it was dry, so the grass was all kind of like brown and stuff, and they actually spray painted the whole park green, like so the grass would like look really nice and fresh. I thought that was kind of
Yeah.
lame, but naming a street Taylor Swift way and temporarily is extra lame. I want to talk a bit about the one vote against this motion which has passed. The lone no was Councillor Josh Matlow. When asked about his vote, he told CP24 News why he voted no. Because it's a complete waste of time. I'd rather focus on issues like the disastrous flooding that happened in the city today, the cost of living, and the cost of housing. There are people in the city who ask us to focus our energy and our time at council on priorities. I think that's
fair.
fair, yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
So he doesn't really have a problem with the whole thing. He's just like, why are we doing this? And temporarily naming a street, that's kind of, what's the point? No one's going to use that name.
No. So when they temporarily name a street, do they change the signs as well, or do they just say, "Oh, Bonanza Boulevard is now Taylor Swift Terrace"?
Yeah, for this week.
For this week, but we haven't changed the signs. We're just saying that it is.
I bet you they'll change the sign just so people will
they
get
probably
pictures
will.
in front of it. But that's the only thing they'll do. Imagine.
But it doesn't really mean anything unless they permanently change it.
Yeah, like if you live on that street, you should have to talk to Canada Post, get everything fixed up, figured out, change your IDs.
Yeah, imagine trying to order a pizza to your street when it's renamed to Taylor Swift Way, and then you're just like,
you say the old name, like I want a pizza to the 25 Prince Street, and like the guy at the pizza shop or the girl at the pizza shop is like a Swift, and they're like, that street doesn't exist, sir.
Yeah, please, no fake addresses.
Yeah, the whole thing is silly, but whatever. It's they referred to it in that article as Swiftonomics. There's no question that a ton of money is going to be coming to Toronto as a result of 6 sold-out shows from this Eras tour. They probably could have had 15 shows and sold them all out. And, so I get the interest in capitalizing on it, but I just think leave that to the businesses and stuff to do, not city council.
If you're a coffee shop on a street that is temporarily named after Taylor Swift, you're going to have all of the Swifties showing up to your street to take photos, and they'll probably go into your businesses and buy your coffees and
that's true,
or your pictures of women's underwear.
Could you imagine the controversy if it came out that like someone on city council's like kid owned a coffee shop right next to the the street sign on this block that's being renamed? That'd be a cool controversy. But no, I don't think it's that complicated. I think it's just a silly thing, but I thought we had to go there. If Taylor Swift's in the news, if cats are in the news, or when animals attack people and it makes it to the news, that's the kind of stuff we got no choice but to look at. That said, I just mentioned animals. Let's hear from a listener. This is Lauren from Cape Breton. She is a survivor of an animal uprising incident. She wants to tell us about it.
Hello, Jordan and the handsome Aaron Airport. It's Lauren reporting from Sydney, Nova Scotia. First, I need to apologize if there's any banging or babbling in the background. I do have a 1.5-year-old who's toddling around me. But I needed to come on here to report something that just happened last night with respect to the animal uprising, as it's hit close to home, let's just say. So we put up a deer fence this year because last year the deer leveled our garden. ate every single plant. Yes. So we put up a deer fence, and everything has been fine and dandy. The plants have been growing excellent, and the deer have been frequenting the yard, but they hadn't made it into the garden, of course, because of the fence. Until last night, when the deer pulled off an Olympic stunt and jumped over the fence into the garden and ate almost every single plant that we had growing. So it's safe to say the animals are getting smarter, they're getting stronger, and more meticulous with their work. So everybody, be careful, watch your vegetable gardens, protect yourselves. This is a clear attack on the agriculture and our humanity. So yeah, that's all for me. Just wanted to share, especially after I saw the video you shared, Jordan, of you giving the deer an apple. It triggered me a little bit, I won't lie. So anyways, have a great day, guys. Take care. Love the show.
I've never heard of a deer fence, Aaron. Have you?
I have.
It's just like a wire fence that you would put around your tulips so the deer don't eat them? Because that's what they get at my house. I have tulips that grow in my yard, and as soon as they start, the deer show up and chomp them.
Yeah, well, it's obvious that one of the methods that the deer are using as their contribution to the animal uprising is to take away the human's food source. So that's become very apparent. And now even deer fences, they've figured out that they can jump over them.
Damn it.
And so now how are we to protect our food sources from the deer? We maybe higher fences, I guess. We'll have to build them higher now.
It's going to be an arms race. We're going to build our fences higher. They're going to jump higher. And where does that end?
Yeah, the deer are doing their squats in the forest right now, strengthening their... Yeah. They're like, our legs are getting so strong and the humans don't even know it.
Let's move on to the next story. And this is nothing new. This is something we've talked about a lot. We've been discussing the emerging public safety concern present in the timeless prank known as a bunch of things, including Nicky 9-door. The matter is continuing to garner the public's and law enforcement's attention. A recent news report from the past week is linking the rise in ding-dong ditch incidents with, you guessed it, a stupid social media trend. Listen to this nonsense.
It seems innocent enough. Knock on a stranger's door and run. But Nicky 9-doors or ding-dong ditch is getting violent.
Kids are now kicking doors with such force that they're leaving dents or compromising the integrity of the door.
In Surrey, BC, many homeowners now paying for those damages. The teenagers involved could be facing charges of mischief. RCMP believe they were influenced by a TikTok trend, the door kicking challenge.
If it's done on purpose, sure, it should be charged.
I'd feel scared to death. I'd probably run out the back door and call 911.
A search on the social media platform brings up compilations of teenagers standing in front of a door of a house, in a school or other building, and filming each other donkey kicking the door, sometimes busting it in, and then running away.
The police are certainly wanting to stop the trend, but what they're also thinking of, if we don't stop this trend, people in their homes are going to take action to stop the trend.
So far, no reports of physical retaliation from Surrey residents. But in February, 2 teens were struck by a truck in Abbotsford, BC, after allegedly engaging in a door knock prank.
Don't engage. When engaging with the youth, they're running scared. And you might be angry.
Surrey RCMP is urging parents to talk to their teenagers about respecting people's property.
Damn, the whole issue is heating up. I never thought that this would be the summer of like Nicky 9-door becoming a public safety issue. And I guess this is where we're at. Kids are getting robbed at lemonade stands. Cities are renaming streets to Taylor Swift. And Nicky 9-door is in the news constantly.
You're not wrong about these issues, but I think, social media seems to be the fuel that helps these fires continue to burn. And social media is like a child's toy, and when you're misbehaving with the toy should be taken away from you. Maybe you've got this toy and you're hitting your other friends with it. It's like, all right, well, I'm going to take your toy away. And that's what we're doing with social media. We're misbehaving with it. Someone needs to take it away from us. We need to go on timeout, think about what we've done. And then maybe when we get social media back after our punishment, we'll be better behaved on it.
I'm not surprised that this whole thing leads back to social media. There's just been a string of ridiculous trends, and it's only going to get worse and more ridiculous, sadly. But I'm not ready to move on from this story yet. Last week we had the shocking Lincoln Log voicemail. That matter's resolved. But I don't know how else to say this, but the type of people that we fear, the teenagers that run wild in our streets, they too listen in on this show on occasion. And there's I don't want to curse, but there's an S disturber out there named Bruin who has a message for us.
Hello, my name is Bruin. I'm 10 years old and I live in Ancaster. I love to do Nicky 9 door, but that's not what I call it. I call it knock and run, and I love to do it all the time. I hope I could be part of your Keep Canada Weird correspondent family. See you next time.
Oh, man.
That's almost as chilling as if we got a voicemail that was just like animals howling at the moon.
It's almost like the CIA getting a phone call from Osama bin Laden.
So, yeah, the call's coming from inside the house.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about it. Do we accept Bruin? Is that a correspondent or is that a terrorist threat?
I think we need Bruin on the show.
Okay.
We need to interview Bruin. We need to talk to him so that we can understand the issue. We've got an issue with young people who, as Bruin admits, loves, what does he call it? Knock and run?
Yeah, I call it knock and run. He almost should have said like baby at the end. Here it is.
But that's not what I call it. I call it knock and run. And I love to do it all the time. I hope
all the time.
I love to do it
all the time.
He wakes up and he starts banging on doors and running.
No time for breakfast. Gotta knock and run.
But yeah, it's like we're doing journalism here. I think we can talk to people with opposing views of our own. Yeah, I would sit down and I'd talk with Bruin and maybe get a sense of what drives someone to knock and run.
Yeah. In order for us to really get to the root cause of this issue, we have to talk to somebody who knocks and runs and
loves to do it
and laughs in the face of authority.
Damn, that was chilling. Let's move on, though. Our final story of the night is this next one stinks, and you'll see why when we get into the story. Wasaga Beach used to be known as the world's longest freshwater beach. However, disturbing allegations regarding how some beachgoers are using the beach may forever stink up the beach's reputation. Many people are of the belief that people are pooping on the beach, and they're doing it in tents to avoid detection. Here's the story.
Wasaga Beach is famous for being the longest freshwater beach in the world. But in recent weeks, it has been talked about for a different reason.
She's seen that they were using this as a washroom.
This TikTok account claiming that her friend witnessed a group of beachgoers using their tent on the beach as a toilet.
So she was pointing out to me, this is where they filled it in, and she personally seen them using it.
This and several other videos about people defecating on the beach have garnered hundreds of thousands of views and has been the talk along the beachfront.
If this is something that's happening and people are actually doing this, because if it is, that's serious and it shouldn't be happening.
There's bad actors everywhere. If someone should see something happening that isn't right, report it. We can only fix it if we know about it.
In 2020, the town of Wasaga Beach adopted a bylaw prohibiting the use of four-sided enclosed tents. But the town does not have jurisdiction on the beach itself, as it is a provincial park. In a statement to CTV News, the province did not address whether there has been any defecating on the beach, just that their staff have not observed it. The statement in part reads, staff at Wasaga Beach Provincial Park, as well as staff at other Ontario parks, have not observed this behavior during the regular patrols of the beachfront or in response to any complaints. Park staff continue to investigate and address complaints from visitors. We encourage park visitors to contact the park office if they observe visitors misusing the park. The province does say if anyone is caught, they will be subject to legal action, including a fine.
We will be working with the province in order to make sure that the provincial park, which people need to understand is the beachfront in Wasaga Beach, is maintained, is clean and is safe.
Mayor Smith says he'll make a motion on Monday calling on the province to ban tents on the beach and improve the way it is maintained and patrolled.
So I don't know where to begin with this one. Other than this story, of course we got to talk about it on this show. This is a weird news story, but is it even real? Like, it seems like the city, in the statements we hear there, they claim they have investigated, but they haven't found any signs of this actually happening. Yet if you go online, people are talking about this all over the place as if it's like, I won't even take my kids to that beach anymore. You would think if it was that prevalent and that much of a problem, they would have been able to find something.
Yeah, I mean, how would they find something, I guess? I don't know. I mean, do you patrol the beaches 24/7? And if it's happening in an enclosed tent, how do you know until after the fact, I guess? I don't know.
But think about this, though. Why would someone bring a tent to do that? Like, if you're going to take it
to do that, I guess, if you're going to.
So you're going to go to the beach and say, I'm going to go to the beach today, but in case I need to defecate, I'm going to bring my tents and use it as an outhouse, have a tent there and dig a hole underneath it and use it as an outhouse. Is that the implication, or is that the allegation that this is happening?
I guess that's the allegation. It seems like a lot of trouble to go through for something that might only happen once in a blue moon, when you're at the beach and you have to go so bad that you can't pack up your things, either get to an outhouse or pack up your things and go to the nearest restaurant or facilities. I see some beaches don't have facilities at all.
This is a bit different, though. Wasaga Beach, the beach isn't like this. As far as I know, it's not this isolated place that you drive through. I think the beach is just there. There should be bathrooms and services, because it's
there should be.
Wasaga Beach is famous for this beach, so it wouldn't be there would be services there. You shouldn't
I
need
would
to
assume there
bring
is,
tents to. And people are pointing the finger at the four-sided structures. So there's already a bylaw to prevent the use of four-sided enclosed structures like tents on the beach. The allegation.
Do we know why that was already in place? What was
That's a good
what was the
question.
other issue that?
Because they said
beach officials were having with four-sided structures.
The only thing I could think of, so this happened in 2020. The only thing I could think of is maybe it was a backhanded way to prevent people from setting up a tent encampment on the beach or something. Because this, I don't know why else. Why else would you do that in the year 2020 to then pass the bylaw? But it sounds like many bylaws, it's not being enforced. So now it's they're probably going to start enforcing that bylaw with the belief that, if you have a three-sided structure, you're not going to be as ruthless enough to defecate in there, and that'll solve this problem. I think we'd be remiss to not mention that a lot of the discussion that's happening online is pointing the finger at a specific ethnicity as being the ones responsible. So there are some very ugly undertones to this whole story that news article didn't even touch on.
Yeah, and we should stress too that there's no evidence that we've seen that any particular group of people are doing this. So it's not, there's no evidence of that. So it should be stated for the record. I would just like to say that, it doesn't matter who you are. Defecating on the beach is not a good idea. But
Yeah.
let's ask a question though.
Mhm.
Because there are beaches without facilities. There's a beach that I go to in Glace Bay called Big Glace Bay Beach, but it's just a beach. There's no change rooms, there's no outhouses, there's no picnic tables. It is just a beach. And sometimes a bathroom situation has an urgency to it where every second counts. So what do you do, Jordan? I know you don't like to go to the beach, but what would you do if you found yourself at the beach and the sudden urge, biological urge and necessity came on and you had to take care of it, and you knew by the feeling in your body that you only had seconds to handle this? What would you do?
I think I would do the same thing any sane person would do, is that however long I have, I'd be walking away from places people frequent for that amount of time into bushes or trees or whatever, away from people. Just like any normal person. I think the idea that to do it right on the beach, come on. If that is actually happening,
if it is actually happening, that's
then
the
it's
thing. We don't
morally
have
wrong.
any evidence that it is.
If it is, it's morally wrong what's happening there. I agree. I agree. And I think it's the obvious answer. I would just walk away from where people would be.
Yeah, I love the beach. I was at the beach yesterday. I'm going to the beach tomorrow. I spend a lot of time in the summer at the beach, and I very much care for the beach and the cleanliness and the safety and all of the things. So if anybody is considering a premeditated poop on the beach, change your mind. Don't do it.
Think of it this way. If you had a bag of, or if you broke some glass on the beach, let's say, and there's no garbage cans in sight, would you take that broken glass, put it in the sand and bury it, being like, oh, it's gone forever now? Or would you take it and throw it in a wooded area where people don't go? Same kind of thing. You just get.
Yeah, I would pack up the broken glass in if I had a little baggie or something, and I would pack up the broken glass and take it with me and then dispose of it properly.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, there's very little actual information to go off of on this story, and so it seems like it's not true, and hopefully it's not true, and hopefully this matter kind of floats away.
We should also say, and this is something we didn't talk about in the news clip, but it seems like this whole issue, which is a big issue now in Wasaga Beach, people are talking about this and are raging about it, in fact. It all stems from a TikTok video. We heard a little bit of it in that news clip where someone is saying, somebody I know saw this happen and they told me it happened. And that seems to be what kickstarted the whole thing. I tried to find the video, the initial video that presents that accusation, and the account that posted it is now no longer on the platform. I don't know. Maybe they just got too much attention and they're like, I can't deal with this. So they just shut their account down or something. But I do think that the idea that this whole thing started from a secondhand report also tells me that, I'm going to lean towards this isn't actually happening. And if it is, it was an isolated incident of one bad decision or something. I don't know.
We have no idea.
I have no
idea.
idea.
To even comment on that, I don't think we can. And
I don't want to comment on it.
The hearsay is what this TikToker is going off of. And hearsay doesn't stand up in a court of law, and it doesn't stand up in the court of Keep Canada Weird. So let's bury this issue and move along and walk away.
We don't know if that is happening, but what we do know is that something is happening with the animals on this planet. They seem to be ramping up for something that I refer to and you refer to as A-Day, which is the day they flip the switch from humans in charge to we got our planet back. And I should also say, I've been doing research and I've been following these stories in hopes of figuring out exactly when A Day will occur. I've yet to come up with an exact date, but if any listeners have an idea out there on when this is going to happen, I beg of you to please send a voicemail with your opinion on what day A Day will occur, because that's something I want to take note of. But long story short is not everyone is using the animal uprising as a cautionary tale or to get them into prepping for the apocalypse. There's a listener named Rhonda. She used an animal uprising event as an opportunity to solve a relationship problem.
Hi, Jordan and Aaron. This is Rhonda from Alaska. So I'm basically Canadian. I have a confession. I tried to co-opt the animal uprising for personal gain. My ex and I both work at the university and got emergency alerts that there was a black bear on campus. This is kind of unusual for where we're at. He texted me about the bear, and I replied back asking him if he'd take a walk on campus with a salmon-filled backpack. I haven't heard from him since. My only concern now is that I may be indebted to the animal uprising for helping me out with relationship issues. Oopsies.
I don't know if I endorse that kind of behavior.
No, I can't say that I endorse it as well. But so she's Alaskan. Rhonda's her name?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Rhonda's Alaskan, so she claims to be more Canadian than American, which I agree with. You're more Canadian than American, but you're mostly Russian, I think.
Rhonda, you and that black bear probably have blood on your hands, and I will tell you, Rhonda is not someone I would cross. She tricks her ex into getting eaten by a bear. Hell hath no fire, like a Rhonda scorned.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, when bears attack, sometimes love is in the air.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes an ex chuckles.
Sometimes an angel gets its wings.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that's our sign to put a bow on this. I think we've done a lot tonight. We've heard from listeners from both sides of the law. We've heard some crazy stories from one coast to the other. I think we did our job here. We kept Canada weird. Aaron, let's put a bow on this thing.
Yes.
Handsome Aaron Airport, until next time.
Jordan, until next time.
We should try somehow to reach out to Maddie's family. I would like to send her something or do something to encourage her to keep her business going.
And Jordan, until next time, I'm going to restart my business. But instead of cutting out pictures of women's underwear, I'm going to cut out pictures of you, and then I'm going to sell them.
Around your house.
At the farmer's market.
Okay. I want to thank you for helping Aaron and I fulfill our mission to keep Canada weird, but let us also call out to you for even greater support in this work. If something weird happens in your neck of the woods, we want to know about it. If you have any thoughts, theories, opinions, or feedback at all on anything we discussed tonight, we want to hear that too. The best way to reach us is by sending a voice message using the voice recorder that can be found at nighttimepodcast.com/contact. And to sweeten the deal for you a bit, if your voice is aired on the show, you qualify for a free Keep Canada Weird swag pack. So if you hear your voice message played, all you got to do is email me your address at nighttimepodcast@gmail.com, and I'll have it out to you right away. Aaron and I are excited to hear from you. Now, before we part here, let us end with some thanks. First, a big thanks to Aaron for sharing another evening with me and with you, the listeners of Nighttime. A big shout out to the internet's favorite cult leader, Unicole, who provides the intro and outro voiceovers for this series, and Monty Data, who provides the outro version of O Canada. And then lastly, but most importantly, I have a massive thanks to everyone listening to Nighttime, as without your interest and your support, this show would be as pointless as it would be impossible. Now, on the topic of support, let me thank the newest subscribers to the premium feed. Alia, Derek, and Jordan, thank you for going premium. And for anyone else who'd like to support the show, you can help us out here in a variety of ways. First of all, a premium feed subscription costs just a couple dollars a month, and that money funds the creation of the show. But the premium feed will also give you episodes 2 days early, get them to you ad-free, and give you access to a full back catalog of episodes. If that sounds like something you're interested in, you can go premium right now at patreon.com/nighttime podcast. And even if you don't want to go premium, you can still support the show by sharing this episode on social media and letting all your like-minded friends know why they should listen. Your support is very much appreciated. Now, until next time, take care of each other, hug your loved ones tight, and let me know if you see anything weird.
Keep Canada Weird is written, hosted, and produced by the Nighttime Podcast.
And now to our viewers and listeners everywhere. Good night.
We got one last thing to do here. Story of the night. Want to flip a coin, see who goes first?
I have a coin right here.
Flip it, tails.
Tails.
Okay. So we're thinking about the Wasaga Beach poop, Taylor Swift Way in Toronto, the lemonade stand robbery. Oh yes, and the Nicky 9-door revelations. I think we could also consider the Lincoln Log revelation as a story.
Mm-hmm.
My money for the story of the night is on Jeff's Lincoln Log revelation. What I liked about that is that it was baiting you, and he did a great job of doing it. He got oh so close. It was creative. It made reference to like past things we discussed on the show. That was the moment of the show. If you don't consider that a story, I'm going to have to go with Taylor Swift Way in Toronto.
Yeah, I think Jeff's revelation of the Lincoln Log singer is my favorite story as well. What I love most about it, it was almost like when you're watching a movie and there's a mystery, like it's a mystery thriller, and you're wondering the entire movie who is the killer. And then next thing you know, it's someone that you find out in the end that it's this person you trusted the most. Then they reveal themselves, and yeah, the unmasking was vocally by Jeff being like, guess what? Lincoln Logs, Jordan, won't you play with me?
And we sat on it for a week. Oh, that was good. Masterclass in trolling the podcast, Jeff. Thank you.
Yeah. But also never call back again.
No, fired.